Everybody. So I am Josh Quinnett. I'm our community manager at Gallium Studios, and I am joined by Timothy Johnson.
Hey guys, I am the COO and CTO of Gallium Studios.
And we are super hyped to be here at SimFest to present some updates on where we're at with Proxy's development. We've got a lot of cool stuff to show you today, including we're going to go through basically an introduction to what Proxy is for everyone that's new to the program. We're going to talk a little bit about our creator community and how that powers what we're building with Proxy. We'll do a super interesting sneak preview at our internal memory maker build. This was a pretty recent build, and I don't think anyone has seen it before, so that's pretty exciting. We'll showcase some of the art that we've been working on internally and the direction that we're heading with both like the UI and where the memory build is going to look like and some of the cool samples the team has put together for this presentation. And then we've got an extra special interactive demo for you where we will go over what it's like to interact with a proxy, and I can't wait to get into that. But without any further ado, I think we can jump forward. Here's the agenda that we just went over, but I think we can jump right into a proxy introduction, Tim, if you're ready.
Yeah. So, let's just start at the beginning real quick for those of you who might not understand what we're doing or what this is. So Proxy, this is a new game from the mind of Will Wright. Will wanted to create an artificial construct of a person. Basically, the short of it is a sim, but get into the actual mind of the sim and be able to program the sim from the inside. And so we've been working on this for a couple of years now, and we've made some pretty big leaps and bounds over the last bit. So the short of it is that you're given the opportunity to create an artificial version of yourself or of any other person or character that you choose to be.
I mentioned we're going to go over a memory maker build in a minute. I wanted to touch on a little bit of the art that's on this slide just to connect the dots there. A big way that you inform your proxy is by building these memory bubble dioramas, kind of like a snow globe, composed of objects that are sourced from our UGC creators within the community. And you build this memory bubble, apply concepts to it, and through a number of other gameplay elements, you accomplish much of what Tim was just going over in building an AI recreation of yourself or a fictional character, a historical figure, or whatever it might be.
That's right. And so proxies start with memories, and that's been like our tagline ever since we started this. And we're going to show you how you can create some of those memories and all these assets. And then it's been leading up to what those memories do. So it's going to be pretty exciting here. Okay, so the next slide is call out to the creator community. Josh, you want to talk about this?
For sure. So I mentioned just a moment ago the objects that one places within their memory bubbles. A lot of these are coming from our community. It's hosted on Discord largely, but we've got a lot of really talented folks who are experienced graphic designers or 3D modelers, or in a lot of cases brand new to the art, producing assets for other players to populate their memories with. I've surfaced a couple really great examples from our creator community here on the screen. I know a couple of you are in the chat, so hello. Thank you all for your efforts. We have a great smiling sun asset by Methos. This asset from Kronos R in the middle here. This is actually a collection of different assets that Kronos R has submitted to the community, and they're all fantastic. These first two came from a series of creator challenges that we do on the Proxy Discord. These are a way to work together toward collective challenges and enhance your skills and also help us test our UGC submission process and our approval process and everything there. The last one on the screen here is a great dragon composed by another creator in the community named Kiki. We got a ton of cool assets that we'll showcase throughout this presentation, but if you're interested in learning more, I'd highly recommend check out the Proxy Discord community. We're at discord.gg/proxy. We've got tutorials in there if you're looking to get started as a 3D modeler. We've got a ton of helpful people in there that'll help you level up your skills. And it's just a really cool way to produce and share art and have a role in the production of Will Wright's next game.
Yeah, and let's talk about them first. So first of our many updates we're going to talk about today is an update to the UGC tool. Let me do that first, he said, by showing, okay, do you see Unity now?
We do see Unity, and for any creators who are currently watching the stream, we haven't shared these updates yet. This is a cool new, there's a number of UI updates and functionality updates to our UGC submission tool.
Yes, it's been kind of a long time coming. I apologize for the speed that we've been doing it. There's been a lot of things kind of working in parallel, but let me show you. And the art here is temp art. It is programmer art. Our art team has already kind of given me the stink eye for showing you this, but we'll show it to you anyway. So this is for those of you unfamiliar, the UGC tool. We're going to be rebranding it to a nicer name. At the moment, we're kicking around the idea of Gallium's Blueprint Studio. So that's what we're going to show at the moment. So this is a plugin for Unity where you fire it up and we're trying to make it a lot more user-friendly. Not too much has changed functionality-wise, just trying to make it more user-friendly for our creators. So at the top, we've got, it checks for updates automatically. It'll take you to our Gallium forum up on app.galliumstudios.com. And then we have the ability to create blueprints, view the blueprints we've already created, as well as some settings. Settings here, you put in your API key and secret. I'm not going to worry that if any of you steal my API key and secret because I can regenerate it. Plus, if you submit artwork under my name, I'll just be flattered. So we go to create. Now it's a little bit simpler and once again, all this artwork is just temp programmer art. The art team will do a much better job of making it nice. But I've got 3 types here, a decorator, a ground, and an audio blueprint. So if we click on something like audio blueprint, now we can go in and start to create something. Similar if you're familiar with the tool already, where you're basically packaging up something that you've created before. Let me go back to a decorator. I'll show you a live fire of that. So you would pick, here's my image for it. This is my name, which would be a cake. Blueprint description, cakes are awesome. New things that are added to it here is our rarity. Not to get too deep into it now, but when you are a creator and you create a blueprint and it's been approved, you can then mint that blueprint into the ecosystem to enjoy it for yourself or to give it to other people or sell it to other people if you want. Part of that is our rarity system. So we've got 4 types of rarity: limited, common, uncommon, and rare. Really, this is how many times you are allowed to mint that blueprint before the blueprint will break and no longer mint. That's just a way that we have our economy set up. You can tag it. This is for searchability. Cakes. And then you would pick your game object. And I have a cake here. This one's actually going to tell me that I can't use it. Well, it should tell me I can't use it. There it goes. Because it's a mesh, not a prefab. So that was nice and quick. For the view tab, and sorry if I'm going to go over this really quick. We have a bunch of tutorials on how to use the UGC Studio. This is more just showing you the new functionality. So this is all of the blueprints that my account has uploaded. Ocean Animals, Super Test blueprints. Added in some self-service options here, so where if your blueprint is in awaiting or rejected status, you now have the ability to go and delete that blueprint and start over again, or load it up and modify it. At the moment, it's a little clunky where our creators have to say, hey, can you delete blueprint so-and-so because it's not ready, or they realize there was an error in it. Something along those lines. So yeah, that's the updates to the Blueprint Studio, or the UGC tool, I should say, where it may not be called Blueprint Studio. And I hope to be getting that out to you guys in the next couple of weeks, once the art team is prettied it up.
Something I want to touch on really quick before we move on. We talked about how creators can submit assets to this, and a lot of the examples that I'm surfacing on the screen here are 3D models, but you might have noticed in Tim's demonstration that there was an audio section as well. You can submit a variety of assets to this program. There's 3D objects as we've gone over. You can submit audio, whether they be music files, background audio, ambience for the background of a memory bubble, Foley effects, that kind of thing. We have a couple of really great creators in the community that have been submitting audio assets while we work to get that functionality added to the tool. So shout out to LDW and Luke. I know both of you have submitted some great compositions that we're glad to see. And anyone who I think has worked in game design knows how effective audio being added into an experience is, and it's so cool to see that added. But in addition, there's effects that people will be able to submit in the future and a number of other asset types. So regardless of the type of creator that you are, even 360-degree painted backgrounds to fill the bubble are an option. So we're looking for creators of all types and all interest levels and all skill levels. And again, I'll just plug it one more time for this slide. Join the Proxy creator community at discord.gg/proxy. We'd be happy to have you.
Awesome. Yeah, audio has been a big one that we've been working on, and so I'm glad to finally be able to give that out. Okay, so now for what a lot of you have been waiting for, our Memory Maker demo. So this is, well, let me just go over to it. I'll close this down, move this out of the way. And everyone, welcome to Proxy. Get out of the way, Unity. Nobody likes your style. All right. So this is a facelift to the Proxy client that we currently have out in the wild. There's a few things we can do here. I did, before we jump into the memory maker, I did want to say in my wallet here, we've made some improvements to the blueprint viewer and the wallet viewer. Up here, you type in the blueprint viewer like you guys have been doing before, of sharing work in progresses and things like that. As you see, I've got a bunch of stuff in here already of just cool things that I've collected over the past bit.
It's so cool to see UGC creator content in your inventory. I see the kindergarten that was submitted recently as part of a creator challenge. I see the camping tent from another creator. That's really cool to see it all active in the client.
Yeah, I'm quiet in Discord, but I'm your guys' biggest fan when I'm trying this stuff out. So this one, this is Shell Candy. This is from one of our UGC creators. This is just the like little show-off pedestal of like being able to zoom in and look at what people have created and kind of spin it around. The details are pretty funny. This is created by our creator named Kiki. This is a decorator, a type of decorator. And I get a giggle every time I open it up. Tastes like sand, frowny face. And it's a common rarity, and there's one of them there. So, and these are just more like nerd stats on tags on how it'll get surfaced. The tags are not just for searchability in your own inventory system or in the stores or whatever. The tags are actually used by your proxy as well. We got a bunch of really fun stuff in here. There was, if you guys... I'll stay on this for one more minute. If you took part in our founder sale back in September, this is the founder trophy that you get, which is pretty fun. This is one of our animated video. It's actually MP4 video on that texture here, so kind of a fun little deal.
Very cool.
And then, yeah, there's some more fun stuff that the community has made. Some colored pencils. That was for what was what was that from?
We wrapped up our second creator challenge recently, and that was themed "Keeping It Classy," which was around the concept of education. So a lot of the assets we've shown so far have been, there was like a kindergarten, a swing sets, the colored pencils in this case, a diploma, a number of assets all around that education theme.
Awesome stuff. Okay, I think I've probably infuriated people who are really here for the memory maker. Oh, one more thing. No, I'm kidding. Let's go into it. So, with the memory maker, I've got two pieces here. One is my memory archive. In this proxy here, I have created lots of memories over the past bit. This is a way to kind of go through the archive of different memories that I've put into it. We'll get into that into a second. So we'll get into just add a memory. So when we add a memory, we've got 4 different ways to start. Memory is in lots of different things go into it. So we can go by adding concepts. We can go into just directly building the visuals. We can do it with images, or we can start with a recording. So I'm just going to start with the concepts of describing a memory. And so we've now entered the memory creator. We can enter some text at the top here. And so I'll say I am demoing the build with Josh.
Is it pulling those concepts in real time while you're typing? I haven't seen that before.
It is, that's right. So I've used the demoing activity concept and the build concept as before. I was almost certain that I'd used you before, but maybe not.
I guess I don't.
And so those will automatically get filled in. So the idea here is that proxies are 100% data driven. The data can be keyword concepts. It can be audio recordings. It can be video. It could be all sorts of different things. This is the keywords concepts. And so our memories are composed of 6 different top-level categories, from activities to people to things to times to emotions to places. And one of the cool things is that you can use the same word in multiple things. So demoing could be an activity, but demoing could also be a mood. So I'll click on emotions over here. Here's some emotions I've typed in before. This is, and it doesn't have to, this is 100% up to you on what a mood is. So I have awful, fantastic, what could go wrong is a mood. There's no right or wrong answer. This is all the training data that will be used by your proxy as we train the models. And it's just up to how you do it. Another fun thing that we have in here is when I start to type in and narrow it down, it will tell you how many memories you've actually used that concept in before. The more memories you use a concept in, obviously you're tacitly weighting the data a little bit more for your proxy to understand what lonely is, and more importantly, what lonely is to you as you associate it with all these different things. And then I'm just going to say fantastic, because this is a fantastic day, because we're demoing the memory. There's a lot to this. I'm going to try to go over it quickly because we can deep dive on anyone. I could deep dive on any of these for like 10 or 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So obviously we have a narrative. Another thing you can do is in your narrative, you can have it kind of auto-suggest parts. So this will, if I click the button properly, there we go. So Proxy will process the words. What it's doing is actually taking that sentence and splitting it up and seeing if there's anything it could parse out of it. Nothing that isn't already used at the moment. I am going to add you, Josh, here as a new concept.
I appreciate it.
So there you are. So Josh and Andrew's still lurking, right? So Andrew, let's move this down. No, don't erase Josh. Did I mention that this is a work in progress? Andrew. So Andrew, you're here. You're lurking.
Would it be appropriate in a case like this to refer to, like for the people section, like a group of people? Like would the audience, for example, or the community be an appropriate person in this context?
Absolutely. What do we want to call our community? Just community?
The greatest people in the world. No, just community is fine.
Okay, well, Proxy doesn't know. We'll say the community. Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to how you. I guess some spacing issues on here. Work in progress, everyone. So it's up to you on how you want this proxy to understand these concepts. And as you train it, it'll become more apparent what that means. Another thing we can do is we can add a picture to the background here. You can search for files on your computer, or you can search the web. I'm going to search for SimFest and see what comes up. I was hoping
this is just like a Google image search that we're looking at, right?
It is, yeah. It's filtered through our backend to make sure there's nothing inappropriate that'll show up.
I see.
But let's just pretend this is what it looks like. So this is you can kind of crop the picture as you want, and I'll just add that to there. And now, so there we go. So now we've made a memory about SimFest. I'm going to go ahead and save this memory now. And this will be added to my proxy as long as all the there we are. Everything's, hey, it worked on demo day. What do you know? But wait, there's more. We could go directly into building a memory. And I'll show you how we tie all these things together. So now this is a nice empty memory bubble. And there's no concepts or anything about it. I might just want to start building things. So I'm going to pick a beach ground out of my grounds. This is all the different types of inventory. This is my memory bubble. And you have full control over what you want to do in here. Let's add some decorators. Where's the shells? I'm going to grab those shells first.
Nice.
Since that fits nicely. And then you can just kind of move things around. There's no colliders or anything on it. That it's up to you on how, if you want to scale them very big or if you want to make them nice and small. So you can put that there. There's also this cute little shelter tent kind of deal. I can move that around. And, well, it's floating in the sky, so then I can bring it back down, put it in the sand a little bit. And so it's just a way to decorate a memory. And so if you don't want to start with a memory of, like, I went to the beach with my kids, you could say, you know what, I'm going to start decorating something to see where it goes. I'll grab a shark. Let's grab the shark. Make the shark much smaller. We also have some tools in here to where, based on how the tool has been made, there's this little palette. Let me see if I can get... There we go. And I'll zoom... Well, I'll just scale this shark up so you can see it. But this shark has a couple of colors on it. In the blueprint, in the UGC blueprint tool, you can design your assets to have multiple color sets on them. I'm colorblind. That seems like a cool shark. I've never seen a shark like that. Another thing is that we added this fine tuning gizmo, so you can move the in greater detail, so you're not just kind of bound to what the mouse. If you're starting to fight the mouse too much, you can get directly into how things rotate and move around. Yeah, and so I'll make it smaller so it's not bursting out of the bubble. If you wanted to burst out of the bubble a little bit. Yeah, so this is just a nice little beach vignette, and I could add more. We've also got lighting. There's so much to go over. It's going to be too hard to go over absolutely everything, but there's custom lighting rigs that you can add to your memory. This is a little light, real-time light that you can move around. You can change its color, its hue, its rotation. There's different types of light. There's point light. There's directional light. There's spotlights. You can. This is the scaling tool. And then if you don't like the light, you can always just delete whatever it is. So we have lots of different lighting effects. I can catch the shark on fire. This is one of the types. I mean, come on. What's more terrifying than a shark jumping out of the waves on fire toward your cute little beach? And so the same idea is you can do fine-tune controls. Effects, special effects is another part of the that's going to be slow. As Josh was mentioning earlier, that you can add different types of effects. We've got lighting, effects, ground, audio, backgrounds. We've also got primitives. Primitives is just, you get as many of these as you want for free. These are just literally what they are, primitives, where you can build whatever you like out of these simple shapes. I'm actually excited to see what people do with that because I've mentioned this before, but like one of my favorite things ever was the Nintendo Mii and the Mii creators, and how through some a very limited set of parameters, people could make absolutely crazy stuff. I feel like the primitives are going to be kind of our people making crazy stuff. More, we can add audio here. So I have different audio items I can add in. Ignore where some of these came from, please, because I don't own the copyright, but then they won't be in the final game. But here's the save room from Resident Evil. You know, why not? You can make it looping.
With a burning shark, in my opinion.
I would agree. And so you could add, as Josh said, it could be a soundtrack, it could be a Foley kind of noise, it could be anything you want. Could be added to it. Backgrounds, where these are like the 360 backgrounds. So if I wanted to put this in, you know, a city kind of scene, I could put it into. I have like a forest kind of scene. Doesn't really match quite as much. But yeah, let's leave that there. And then another thing is our filters. We have these are work in progress icons for it, but this is the noir filter. This is the beautify filter, and then this is no filter. And for those of you familiar with Unity, these are we use universal render pipeline, and so these are just image effects that you can tune and create and add to your scenes. So let's make it kind of noir. There we go. Now this is really Resident Evil, kind of moody. And so this is a great way to start a memory, but you can't save a memory unless it has a concept. Another thing I should say for the machine learning is that each one of those items has tags on it. So the shark has tags. The primitive doesn't have tags, but the shells do, and all the images. So this all goes into the training data for the proxy. If we go back out here, now we're into concept land. Since we didn't have one, it just tagged it with visualization. I don't want that. I'll throw that over here. So instead, I will add a memory. Let's do this. That time a burning shark almost killed my daughters, Ava and Vera. And then, you know what? I bet you it's the exclamation point. There we go. Yeah, it was the exclamation point. And so now if I ask it to parse, let's see if it can find, click the button correctly, Tim. There we go. let's see if it finds anything. So yeah, it just found some more words for us to use. And's not a good one. Daughters is one. So daughters is people. Killed is an activity. Let's add that. Almost, nah. Shark is a thing. Burning, let's make that a mood. And then time, let's throw that away. So anything you don't want, you just throw it to the side. And then let's save it. And there we go. That is a memory that has been saved. So I did describe, build, show, and tell. Show will start you with the pictures. Tell is a good one. Let's do tell. So it opens up, and now it's gonna it's waiting for me to say something. So I'll hit the record button. This is a memory about me demoing Proxy with Josh at SimFest.
You might not pick it up if your mic is currently hooked by Discord. Not sure.
Well, I heard it. I don't know if you guys heard it. It repeated it back correctly for me. And so once again, it's trying to be
excellent.
Oh, did you hear it fine? Okay, good. Okay, so it tried to be helpful, and it added a recording tag. I don't want recording, but I will say I'll just do a location, and I'll make a location called SimFest. And once again, Proxy doesn't care. I can make SimFest a mood or a time. I can make SimFest a place and a time, and it will understand that these are separate content. Just because they have the same text doesn't mean that it is the same concept. The concept is categorized, and there's a taxonomy that Proxy is building. So I'll save that one. Recordings sometimes take a little bit longer, so we'll see if that works. Yeah, that's fine. And then show, kind of the same deal, but it just opens up the show selector right away. So I can go into... this is just some files on my hard drive of screenshots of other things I was doing. And then I can just save it there. All gets saved and processed and goes into machine learning. Then I have my archive of memories. And so this is just a collection of the memories that I've put into this proxy over the past... man, I guess this is probably about 6 or 8 months worth since the last time I accidentally deleted all of my memories. So yeah, taking an airboat in Florida. This memory I actually did from my Android device while I was on an airboat in Florida. I was really excited that the networking worked to make it sync to the back end. And that's kind of the overview of the memory maker and where we're at with the memory maker. I guess from here, the next bit, slide-wise.
I wanted to talk a little bit about like memory bubbles and what they are. And first of all, it's cool to see all that in action. I have the app on my machine, but it's cool to see you go through all of it from your perspective, see all those assets and memories in one place. I wanted to touch on a lot of what we showed there is, well, first of all, a memory bubble can be anything. Like Tim was saying, the way Proxy interacts with it is mostly built around the concepts that you assign. So a memory could be, as he's demonstrated, just a voiceover line or text that you input to try to inform your proxy. It could be trying to make this as photorealistic or as lifelike as I can. If my memory was the first time I rode a red bike down a hill, I could try to find a red bike and a hill and try to emulate that. Or you go a little bit more surrealist with it, or things that are symbolic of the memory that you're trying to recreate, for example. What's exciting to me is that because the community is helping generate so many of these assets, really the sky's the limit. It could be anything. We don't dictate what the art style of a given memory should be, but we're trying to provide everyone with the most creative tools possible to create their vision in these memory bubbles. And it's really cool to see that demonstrated. And I don't know that I had seen like the noir filter go on top of one in real time, but just seeing the impact that has on the aesthetic of a memory bubble is impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, it's super fun, and just as like a creation tool, it's just really, really fun to get in there and play with it. But now we're starting to enter the next realm of For 3 years now, we've been grinding away at Proxy, taking this data and chewing it up and turning it into models that are usable. And so that's the exciting next part to go into. I did want to, before we jump into that though, I believe we've got some slides on the future visuals of the memory bubble.
Absolutely, yeah.
There we go.
So
let me go back. So Josh, why don't you talk about this?
We have a number of new folks who have joined the team, a number of them being artists, and they were kind enough to share some of the work-in-progress content that's happening behind the scenes at Gallium Studios right now on Proxy. And I wanted to share this just to give you an idea of what we're exploring and what some of our visual goals are for Proxy. A lot of what you saw in Tim's demonstration is still work-in-progress content. We haven't done a full UI pass on it, for example, so on the right-hand side of the screen, you can get a vibe for what we're looking at in terms of Proxy's UI. And then on the left, one of our new tech artists, Millie, shared these with me. This is some exploratory work around what the bubble itself could look like. And some of this is a little subtle at this size, but you can see how there's like a ripple effect that is responsive to the cursor. In the bottom left-hand quadrant, you can kind of see how an object entering a memory bubble interacts with the surface of that bubble. And this is just some cool example testing that we've been doing to give you an idea of what the team has been working on and where we see the visuals for Proxy evolving in the future.
Yeah, I'm really excited about, especially some of this. I don't know how well it's coming up on the stream, but this resin in of the bubble. That one's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the lead up to cool. I've been giving my Proxy all these memories. I've been adding all this data to it. What does that mean? And so, did you want to go, Josh?
I mean, I can tee up some of this if you'd like. I'm just reacting to the chat messages that we have on screen. I mean, we've been talking a lot about what it means to make a memory in Proxy, but something that we haven't been able to explore a lot with our community thus far is, well, what is it like for the Proxy? When you add those memories, how does it impact it? What is it like to interact with it? And Tim, I don't want to steal too much of your demonstration on this, but what you're seeing on screen here is, I'll let you get into the details, but these are interactions within our Gallium Studios Slack channel between Timothy and myself, and then Will also, with some of these proxies that we've created that you can now interact with. And I'll pass it back to you, Tim, to talk a little bit about how we created these things, how they work, and what it's been like so far.
Yeah, this has been, and I say this with no joke here. The past 5 months has been the most fun I have ever had making games. We had a breakthrough. We had been training these models, and we've been training these models, and there were some interesting things we could do, and there's still a lot of really awesome, insightful data, but we started to, we kind of had a breakthrough with NLP and actually having this thing communicate. So from the training data that you're creating with these memories, I went through and started building out different ways of trying to just communicate it in natural language. And it's getting pretty good. So this up here on the top left, this is the Proxy we were just looking at, Timothy, the one I was just adding those memories to. I went ahead and trained it up and trained the full Proxy communication module for its different models. And this is what this was one of the first conversations I had with it. If you are friends with me or have known me for a while, I've had a drink or two in my life. Whiskey is a thing I enjoy. And so just quickly I asked it, hey, what's your stance on alcohol? And it came back with, I don't recommend it for kids, that is absolutely something I share. So my follow-up then was, though, do you recommend alcohol for adults? And this was a nice little insight. It said, no, whiskey is for old men. So apparently I think I'm an old man. From there, we started to, we've been building personal proxies, and we decided to go ahead, not only going after the ones that we are just kind of like little mirror images of ourselves, but also to create a cast of characters to help us develop this tech. And we brought on an old friend of mine, Bob Wood, who is a comedy club owner at Relapse Theater, one of the funniest people I've ever known. So he started creating memories for these proxies, and he created a whole slew of characters that we've been working on. So we've got 5 or 6 of them now that are fully conversational. We hooked them up to Slack here to where anyone could talk to them. Down here on the bottom left, that's Will. Will is Klopalcious. If you wonder why he calls himself Klapausius, go read the Siberiad, I guess. He likes to talk to Dennis. Dennis is our resident conspiracy QAnon theorist. And so that's why Dennis's answers here are the Bavarian Illuminati is who we should fear the most, which I don't know if that's the Germans or they're just delicious. And then we have Kiri. Kiri is like a sophisticated metropolitan lady. We picked like a technocrat from San Francisco, little bit of a jerk. And then Floyd is like a laid-back Canadian bartender. So this is Josh talking to them, and this one's Josh likes. This is such a great one. Of what do you see when you look out the window? And Kiri says the scary thing is I can see my reflection in the glass. And it's just these wonderful little insightful deals. And then Floyd chimed in right after it, as the last time I looked out the window, a bird pooped on my head. So,
I think half of our Slack interactions within Gallium now are either interacting with the bots or sharing the funny things that they say internally with one another. Because it's like every other interaction is like they're finishing a joke for you that you didn't even know you were trying to make.
Yeah, the proxies here are pretty fun. So I should probably just get right into it and show you. Make sure I've got the right deal going. So
while Timothy pulls that up, I've asked this in the chat on YouTube as well, but we are going to do a live demo. And if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask the proxies, go ahead and type into the YouTube chat now. And when we begin that demo, I'll start sourcing things and sending them into the chat.
Okay, is that, I've increased the size, so hopefully that is big enough for you guys to see. So I'm going to just say, Timothy, I'm just going to ask my proxy. So for our mentions in Slack, we put an exclamation point and then their name. So I'll say, are you at work today? And it being demo day, no, I'm taking care of some things around the house. Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing for it to say. Then we can talk to, so you can either mention them directly or you can just say something and they're listening. And so if you say something, you're free game. Any one of them might respond to you.
Here, I'll type in a prompt from Methos if you're ready.
Hey, go ahead, please.
All right, so this comes from Methos in chat. We're going to say, Methos would like to know what your favorite memories are. We might be able to do a zoom in on the Slack. Excellent. So Kiri is a little salty with me. She says she remembers when her and I used to be friends. Floyd remembers when all their friends became Macs and he was left with a PC. T800 doesn't remember anything. Have we introduced who T800 is yet?
No, we have not. T800 is a killer robot from the future who's been sent back in time for some reason.
For some reason. T800's responses are always really fun. Let's see. We've got one from Andrew here. What are your favorite memories? Or else this will turn into a Cats musical. Let's see. How can computer games save the world? We're going to ask that.
This is Grumbly. Grumbly is a reformed internet troll. Grumbly is still kind of a troll, but he's on a 10-step program to get better. But sometimes it leaks through that he's still kind of a jerk.
T800 just knocked it out of the park. The only way computer games can save the world is if they are used to train soldiers. And what I love about that is not only is it fun, right, but it's so thematically appropriate to the character that T800 is in this context, right? Like that's exactly where that character's brain would go for this. And again, there is not a Gallium team member typing this in on the back end. This is generated by the tech that the team has built, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, there are multiple models at work here based on so these proxies are currently they're actually in our very small isolated proxyverse. So the way that this is working, they're actually very close spatially. They can hear one another, and using the Slack channel, your you actually have a little proxy in there that is talking to them. So this is all spatial, it's all relational, and they all have relationships with each other that's kind of moving the needle if they like you or don't like you. So depending on what their current mood is, it will do different models and all sorts of different ways to talk to them and for them to respond.
So I teed up...
Okay, so hold on. Timothy chimed in. Ava wants to remodel the kitchen next year. Ava's my daughter. We are actually remodeling the kitchen. We're planning it now. We'll break ground next year. So that's spooky for me.
That is a little surreal. I haven't seen them surface names like that, because this is the first time I've really seen us interact in real time with the Timothy proxy, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd kept him to the side because I didn't think anyone would want to talk to me other than me, which is kind of the point of Proxy, is that, if you build a AI of yourself, your friends may want to talk to it, but you probably want to talk to it the most. It's a very narcissistic view, but it's also super fun. And Floyd is a little irritated that the T800 thinks pizza's overrated.
I can relate to that in this context. Okay.
Dennis says the Illuminati wants ice cream. So, and yeah, this is all. And to really preface it, this is from the memories of those proxies. That is where this came from. So, we wanted to show the tech of being able to get personal insights like that. No one else is getting insights about what Timothy says except for me. Which is kind of the point. But anyone who might want to ask me a question, the more I train it, the more data I put into the training data of memories, the more it gets like me, to where I might be able to not show up for some meetings and just send my proxy in and have, okay, Josh, you want to talk about marketing strategies? Just talk to my proxy.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a very productive conversation. I'll just teach it to do thumbs up to everything I suggest. Let's see. You need to be spanked and put in your place. This is in response to Battlemaster. Something that I know Tim touched on this a moment ago. I might have been distracted pulling chat messages, but not all of them are responding to my prompt. They see what one another are saying and react to one another, the proxies between themselves, which can be pretty fun as well.
Another thing that we just recently implemented is the thumbs up, thumbs down reaction. And so what we're doing here is we're capturing, this is internally for our training, we're capturing the things that they're saying and then the responses to it, or the things that we say and their responses to it. And if something doesn't feel right, we're thumbs downing it so we can put that back into the training data of that doesn't sound like me at all, or that doesn't sound like what T800 should say if it's a character that we understand. And then on the reverse, if it's something that we like, behavior that we think is good, then we're doing the thumbs up. And that's weighting that data even more as we go back through and retrain these models. So yeah, I would never say to someone, you need to be spanked to put in your place. Like, that's just not me. I've got better things to say. Teed up for that.
We're going to find out some important information. This question comes from Methos Proxies. Who's your favorite Gallium team member?
Ah.
Gallium
okay, well, Kiri just got... Oh, she's waxing poetic now.
What would be our command, Tim, if we wanted to see what one of the proxies' impression of an individual person is? Because that's kind of related to this. We have tech in there where we could actually, through numerical values, determine who the favorite team member is for an individual proxy, right?
Yes, it's only showing you back your own results, but it is... Here, I'll do it. So I'll ask T800 what they think of me. T800, get stats. So the little thing has heard me say 18 things and has a fairly neutral opinion of me at the moment, which makes sense because I actually reset the Proxyverse shortly before we started this call because I wanted to make sure it worked. And also that they weren't going to be broken and saying other things. But there's a whole there's so many different pieces. They have individual relationships with each other. They have individual relationships with you, the person speaking with it, and then they'll have different types of moods based on it. We've got a pretty big mood chart. It's basically two vectors of the scalar from 1 to -1 on 2 axes. And from that, as it moves around, they might be in a bad mood and not want to talk to you. They might be in a fantastic mood and want to just say really nice things. They may really like you, but they are in a bad mood, so they won't insult you, but they'll be terse. So yeah, there's...
don't take Dennis's message too personally. Please keep in mind he is a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and that isn't his honest impression of you.
Let me ask. So Galexa is. We train Galexa to be basically like a sweet Southern woman, like someone from like Tifton, Georgia, in her 40s. So I'm just going to ask her how her day is going.
The interaction between T800 and Floyd there is pretty fantastic. Before we jump into that, the internet is adult. Half the internet is adult conversations, and the other half is adult entertainment, buddy.
So Galexa, my day is going to get much better once I boot you out of my RAM. So yeah, I think Alexa is in a little bit of a bad mood now with all this. She's not a big fan of adult conversations and people being mean. She likes to say honey and sugar and darling.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, trying to think if we had anything else for the. We can come back to this. Let me just wrap this up. We can come back to it for the Q&A at the end. So we've got this really awesome kind of breakthrough tech. The Proxyverse is already getting filled with proxies, with opinions, because we're generating characters. Plus, we're all creating our own. And so I'm really excited to see where we take this tech next. Like, as I said, this is the most fun I've had making, and I've been making games for about 15 years now, or 16 years. And this feels like real bleeding edge with real amazing kind of results.
And if you think that this is as fun as we do, as community manager here, one of my top priorities is the Gallium Discord. That's where we get together, share what we're working on, communicate with the community. And one of my goals, I'd love for there to be some type of access for the community to interact with these bots more directly. All I can tell you right now is that it's something we're interested in looking into. So if you want to learn more about the bots and you want to learn more about opportunities to interact with them outside of our personal Gallium Slack, check out the Gallium Studios Proxy, which you can find at discord.gg/proxy. We'll have a link to it on the next slide. But then also, that's a good lead in to this slide as well. Gallium Studios is growing. We've got a bunch of open positions. Tim, I'll throw it back to you to talk a little bit about these roles.
Yeah, we are growing. We're growing kind of exponentially. All this cool tech, it drew a lot of attention from a lot of people who have now given us the ability to grow. So with that, we've got a bunch of positions open. Just real quick, we're looking for an art director. That's one of the big hires. We're looking for a senior DevOps engineer. These servers require a lot of complicated arrangements, so if you're one of those, always looking for good Unity game developers and tools engineers and things like that. So not to go over each one of them, but go to galliumstudios.com/careers, and if you're interested, please apply. And you can even put in your title. Saw the SimFest thing, and that'll get you to the top of the list.
Top of the pile, yep.
So yeah, I think that kind of leaves us here. This is more art from our awesome content creators in our community. And so yeah, I guess we'll leave it here for any questions, comments, concerns, rumors.
Hopefully more of the questions, less concerns.
So no one's interacting with their proxies yet. That's going to be very shortly. I will say though that if you go to and if you ever have gone to our portal, which is app.galliumstudios.com, if you've ever created an account here, you've actually already created a proxy. It's waiting for you to start to create memories for it. And so that's also, if you wanted to get in here and start creating UGC contents, this is where you can download our tool sets and the different builds. And all this, this is a nice teaser to the next couple of weeks. a lot of new stuff is about to be available for you guys in your hands.
Bob Wood, can you clarify your question? And Giuliano Emlyn Harris says, do check it out because it's been an amazing experience for me as a newbie 3D creator. Let's talk about that a little more. These tools have gotten a lot better, but clearly you're still aiming them for folks without much 3D experience. Who is the perfect person to come proxy with you?
I think we'd welcome creators of any skill set. Methos, whose question you just, or not question, but comment you just read from chat. I hope he doesn't mind that I speak on his experience in the creator community so far, but if I recall correctly, Methos came as a complete beginner. And I think Methos was creating really simple, low poly trees and things like that. And it's been incredible to see their skill grow over time. Again, we welcome brand new creators. We have tutorials on our site to teach you how to install Blender and how to form your first object from a cube. We have more advanced tutorials that'll walk you through bringing it through our UGC pipeline that'll obviously need to be updated for the enhancements that we're making to it. But whether you're brand new or experienced and you just want an opportunity to share this content, you want to get involved in the game that we're building, I think we're welcoming anyone at any skill level and any type of creator. I mentioned this earlier, but it's been really cool to start to see audio come through. I know we've had a ton of people in the community who are interested in that functionality, and I think it's right around the corner to be able to blueprint it and add it to this system. But yeah, anyone of any skill level, any artistic background, we'd love to have you. And it's great to see those types of folks collaborating within the community, answering one another's questions. It's not a bad place to go if you're trying to teach yourself basic 3D modeling in Blender and ask questions like, how do I flip my normals back? This doesn't look right. Or how do I change the orientation of this? We've got people happy to help both in the community and Gallium artists that hang out in that Discord as well and are happy to answer your questions.
Talk a little bit more about the audio side. That's a new feature. And what sort of tools will people be using for that?
I can speak to it briefly. Tim, I'll throw it back to you for like the blueprinting process. I'm not an audio creator myself, but some of the folks that we've seen submit things have been full-on compositions that I'm sure they're recording from live instruments. Some are probably synthetic. Forgive me, I'm not an audio person, so this is not my terminology, but I think the sky's the limit. As we mentioned, Foley effects, you can record yourself singing and submit that as an asset for someone to use in their memory. Go out into your backyard and record the crickets chirping. Someone will use that for a similar memory, right? The sky is the limit.
It is it's so at the end of the day, it's still a Unity plugin, right? So if you can compile and mix your soundtrack or your sound effect just down to a WAV or an MP3, our tutorials are pretty easy. It's basically you're creating a prefab that just has that as an audio clip on it, add it to the blueprinting process, and then put it into the mix. Maybe I could actually show real quick. Because I have some audio assets in here. I think I did demo like the Resident Evil thing. This is I don't know if you guys can hear it, but this is just a soundtrack from Fez. This is us playing around because only recently did we get an audio director, so we were kind of scrambling for stuff to test with. But yeah, it's real easy, real simple. Add audio to your tool or add audio to a prefab, build the blueprints, and then it'll show up in someone's game.
And as a caveat, if I may really quick, sky's the limit, but a couple of the audio examples we've shown are copyrighted content. Every submission is manually reviewed by a member of the Gallium team, and unfortunately we do have to reject content that is an obvious breach of copyright. So taking the soundtrack from a different game, for example, wouldn't be a good example of an audio asset that we would want you to submit, but we have them in there just as we test the functionality.
That's exactly right, and luckily most of the people that we've spoken to about this through the GGDA are mostly game devs, and so they've got tons of game audio that they're sitting on their shelf that I think you guys would be more than happy to take your own content, clean it up, and upload it. I was going to show
bring stuff you have the rights to, and give them to Gallium.
Yeah, and that's also a cool thing too is that you retain the ownership of all of this stuff, right? So every time you make a blueprint, who you are and where it came from, that's all minted into that asset. So if you give it to people or sell it to people or if it's traded around, no matter what, it's always going back to you as the sole author of whatever that content is.
All right. Miso says, I barely knew what Unity and Blender were when I joined the Proxy community. Honestly, pretty much everything I know now I learned from and with the Gallium team and the creators community. I'd never been able to create the things I create now without that help. And Mythos, I just put a link to our Discord if you want to join Tim and Josh and others in our chat after this.
Fantastic. Once again, shout out to Mythos. You're a rock star. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I was going to share just the last musical thing. See if I can share it. I was asking Kiri a question. I was talking to Kiri, the Proxy, about Les Paul. If you're familiar with Les Paul, he and Mary Ford, musician from the one of the most profound musicians ever. And he had a Gibson Les Paul. And so anyway, I was talking to Kiri, and we were talking about Les Paul. She said something, and I said, Kiri, I thought Les Paul made guitars. And she responded, maybe he did, but he's more famous for hacking his Gibson. That's my favorite thing any AI has ever said to me.
That's great. All right.
Well, if we're wrapping things up, I'll throw one last plug out there. Join us on Discord, discord.gg/proxy. Check out the Gallium Studios website. It's galliumstudios.com. We have a news section there that links out to a blog. You can learn more about the AI interactions that we went over today. Tim wrote a really great blog on that. You can learn more about the creator community and the challenges that we run. Would love to hear from you all. Check out our Discord, check out our website, and then follow us on socials as well. Gallium Studios for all networks.
Yeah, and I think we're going to hang out and just chat after this in the GGDA voice chat, right? And just kind of hang out.
Yep, that's the plan. Ask Joe Casava about ice cream. All right. Thank you very much, both Josh and Tim. That was wonderful. Thanks to everyone for joining us for SimFest today. All sorts of great information. Come join us in the chat. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Thank you.